What's going on, you guys? My name is Zach Hartley and welcome to another video. In this one, we are going to talk about the electric vehicle charging industry. I'm going to point out for you the two publicly traded companies that I have my eye on. I'm going to give you an industry overview and I'm going to tell you what I am looking for as we move forward. Here's everything you need to know. Let's go. Alright, so just as a disclaimer, this is all just my opinion. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and you need to do your own research and make your own trades. But the companies I am looking at today, the public companies are ChargePoint and Blink Charging. Those are the two publicly traded companies that you can easily invest into right now. Now, there are also a number of private companies that are in this space. None of them are quite as large as ChargePoint or Blink Charging. However, they are growing extremely fast. They're doing extremely well, but they're completely private, so you can't really get any numbers, or it's harder to get numbers out of them. So the companies we're going to focus on today are ChargePoint and Blink Charging. Their tickers are SBE and BLNK. So why do I like this industry? Well, number one is really simple. Electrification is growing rapidly. So the percentage of electric cars in the market is growing very, very quickly. And I think it is only going to continue to grow at either the same pace or an accelerated pace because of reason number two, and that is that all manufacturers have announced that they're coming out with an electric vehicle, but they do not want to build charging stations. So what I mean by that is that Tesla went out and they built a supercharging network, and they had to do that because they were the first to market and somebody needed a way to charge these cars. But now when a car manufacturer develops a car, they can use a company like ChargePoint or a company like Blink or any of the other private companies, and instead of having to go out and build a supercharging network like what Tesla did, all they have to do is partner with ChargePoint, and now they have access to over 100,000 charging stations that are already set up instantly. It's not going to take them any more time to set up, and that's the advantage here. And so I think that all of the manufacturers that aren't Tesla are going to end up using a company like ChargePoint or like Blink or like any of the private companies to give their customers access to a charging network, because they are not going to want to set up a supercharging network like what Tesla did. Now, the third reason that I really like these companies is because they have a recurring revenue business model. So once they go out, they sell the actual hardware to the customer, they sell the installation, they are actually then making money on the service and the software fee associated with that hardware, as well as the maintenance fee and some payment processing when people actually buy the electricity through them. Now let's just look at the business model a little bit more in depth right now. So we're going to cover ChargePoint and Blink primarily here, but what these companies do is they start by manufacturing charging hardware. So they either design it and manufacture it in-house, or they outsource some of the manufacturing and then they bring it into their location. After that, they sell or lease the hardware to an end consumer, usually a landowner, a business owner, a building owner, or a garage tenant, whatever it is. Whoever wants their hardware, they will sell or lease it to them, and they will go on site and actually install that hardware. After that, they will sell the electricity, they will process the payments for selling that electricity, they will service that hardware continually, and they will sell the customer a software to manage and look after all of the hardware that they have now purchased. And so what's really nice here is they have an upfront revenue generator that has excellent margins on it because it's hardware, and then after that they have recurring revenue through the software. And so I really like that business model. I think it's great, especially long term. Once you have one of these units set up, it is going to consistently generate revenue for you, and I think that is a major opportunity in this business model. Now, this is what the hardware looks like. So as you can see, we've got really small little portable ones that could probably go in your garage, all the way up to kind of 1 and 2 station units that would probably go in a parking lot, and then maybe a commercial size unit right here. And so this is sort of the hardware. I actually saw one in Calgary the other day, so I'll put up a photo of that right now. This was outside of a car dealership, so I actually walked up and took a photo of it. It feels pretty good. It feels pretty solid, especially in minus 20 Calgary weather. So ChargePoint, the hardware actually looked pretty good to me. Okay, now ChargePoint is currently trading at $15.61 as I'm making this video. It is currently merging with Switchback Energy Corp. Now, this is the big thing that you need to know. ChargePoint was a private company. It should have been on that right side of the list there when I showed it to you. However, they just decided to merge with Switchback Energy Corp. Now, Switchback Energy Corp is something called an SPAC, or a SPAC, Special Purpose Acquisition Company. And so what they did was they had a ton of money. They decided to go out and merge with ChargePoint, and now that deal deal is in the writing. It has been announced, but it has not been closed. And so we're expecting that deal should close by the end of 2020. But this company, what you should know about them is that they are the largest. So they currently have 115,000 chargers installed, and they claim that they are 7 times larger than their nearest competitor. So really kind of the behemoth in the industry right now. I would say ChargePoint is the leader in the industry. I think they're doing really well. I do think that Shell is starting to add electric chargers to their gas stations, and that could be a competitor over the next few years. But as of right now, ChargePoint is the very clear leader in terms of size in the industry. What you do need to know though is that ChargePoint and Blink Charging both have class action lawsuits against them, so you should be well aware of that. If that is something that concerns you, you should definitely look into the topics behind those class action lawsuits. I do like this industry, and I think it might just be part of what's going on right now because it's moving so fast, but I can tell you both of the public companies in this industry both have class action lawsuits, so if that worries you, you should definitely look into those. Now let's take a look at the stock for ChargePoint. So as you can see, it has had just an amazing run here. This day here at the beginning of September was when the deal was actually inked. So you can see here, the stock didn't really do anything for like 6 months before that. And then the announcement came out that they were going to merge with ChargePoint Energy, and the stock has just skyrocketed since then. It went from about $10 to a high of $14.50. It has come all the way back down to $11, and now it's currently trading at $15.61. So it is extremely volatile right now. I got into this stock, I'm up about 20% on it, but who knows what's going to happen. That could change very quickly, so you need to be well aware of that. So this is what the stock chart looks like for ChargePoint. Now let's take a look at Blink. Okay, so this is what the hardware looks like for Blink. As you can see, they've got one little charging unit that kind of goes into a garage, I'd assume, and then these ones here are probably for parking lots or outside buildings or outside of a gas station, wherever they decide to put them. So this is what the hardware looks like. Now Blink is trading at a much lower price. It's currently at $8.60 on October 25th. It has been publicly traded since around 2016. Now what you need to know is this company is significantly smaller than ChargePoint in terms of installations. They installed 662 units last quarter. They have 1.6 million in revenue, and they only have about 15,000 units deployed and installed. They have also partnered with one of the private companies, SEMA Connect, and they're working together with them to basically increase their footprint. I'm not sure the exact specifics on that relationship. It's a little bit blurry, but I'm trying to dig into that a little bit more as we go. And these guys also have a class action lawsuit that you should be well aware of. Now the chart for Blink has been a little bit different. These guys were trading at $1.55 back in May, and they went to a high of $14.58. So they are moving much more rapidly and much more drastically than ChargePoint was. ChargePoint went from like $10 to $15. These guys went from like $1.50 to $15, which is absolutely just insane over such a short time period. It was like 3 months maybe, and so hit a high of $14.58, came all the way back down to $6, went back up to $12, and we're currently trading around $8.60. So super interesting chart here. I do like the company long term. They do have good growth and good financials, especially in the last 2 quarters. However, it's a crazy industry out there when we're looking at these stock charts. Now, in comparison, I have done some fundamental analysis on these companies. So SBE and BLNK, these are the tickers, the current price, 1560 and 8.6. The market cap for Switchback Energy post-acquisition. So this is going to be after the 2 companies combined. If you go to Yahoo, it's a different number. But post-acquisition, when this deal closes, should be $2.4 billion. Blink Charging, when you multiply the share price times the number of shares, is $273 million. So very different size companies here. This is going to be a $2.4 billion company versus a $270 million company. So very different. Revenue in the trailing 12 months is also very different. So with ChargePoint, because they're going through the merger, the only numbers I could see were annual for 2019, where they did $147 million. Now I'm assuming that revenue went up this year. I haven't been able to find any of those numbers because of the merger, but in 2019 they did $147 million. Blink Charging in the trailing 12 months has done about $4.3 million. So significantly smaller. However, in the last 6 months of reported financials, they outpaced their entire 2019 financials. So in the first 6 months of 2020, they brought in more revenue than they did in all of 2019, which is really nice growth, and I really like to see that. Switchback also has $650 million in the bank compared to $16 million for Blink Charging. And here's the real number that I like to look at here. Now this is the one that I think is the most interesting. It is installed chargers. So basically installed, posted in the ground, thing hooks up to a car and puts energy into it. that's what I'm considering a charger. Switchback has 115,000 of them compared to Blink Charging, where I could see the latest report said they had over 15,000. So the number's probably slightly higher than 15,000. Maybe you give them 17 or 18, but I don't think it's 20. And then installed chargers for Switchback was claimed at 115, and that was a couple of months ago. So I do expect this number is a little bit higher. All right, now the last thing I want to point out here is the market cap to installed charger ratio. Now, if nobody has used this before, I am going to coin it as mine, or at least as being the first guy to use it. And what I'm looking at here is what's the company worth compared to how many chargers do they actually have installed, and put it into a ratio. And when we look at Switchback Energy, it's 20,000, and when we look at Blink Charging, it's 18,000. And so it's about a 10, maybe 12% difference here. And what this is showing me is how many chargers are you buying when you actually buy into that company? How many chargers value are you getting when you buy into that company? And as you can see here, it's pretty much the same. So when I look at these two companies, it can be kind of difficult here, because Switchback Energy, I'm pulling all of the numbers from 2019. I'm pulling it from a PowerPoint, because none of these numbers are actually publicly available, or at least how they've done in the first 2 months of 2020. And so I'm basing all of my information off of their basically management discussions and their investor slide deck. Now, when I compare these two companies, I can see that they're both growing extremely fast. Blink has just put up extraordinary numbers for the first half of 2020, especially compared to 2019. And when the ChargePoint deal goes through, they're going to have an exorbitant amount of cash to work on their expansion. The one thing that you do need to notice is that both companies do have class action lawsuits against them. So I highly recommend you looking into those lawsuits and seeing how big of an impact they should have on your investment. However, what you also need to know is that both of these companies are years away from making money. You are not going to see a dividend from these companies. They're not going to be giving you any special shareholder money back. It is not going to happen from these companies for years and years down the road. And I think what's probably going to happen is a couple of them are going to merge together as well. Now, what I do like about this industry is that I see it as a very great long-term opportunity. I think the only thing that's going to happen is electrification is going to come out more and more. And as more and more car manufacturers decide to make electric cars, they're going to need to rely on companies like this. So here are the trades that I am making. I'm going to be buying long-term into ChargePoint through the ticker SBE. I am also going to be buying call options with a February expiry. That way, hopefully the deal is closed by then, the announcements come out, we figure out what's really going to be happening with the company, and we see some more institutional investors coming into the company and driving the price up. I'm also going to be taking a very small position in Blink Charging, because I do think the company is much smaller, it's much riskier, it has a little bit more challenges ahead, but I do think it's probably the number 2 player in this space right now, and I wanted a little bit of diversification in this industry. Now, one thing you need to realize is that I am not responsible for your trading. If you make any of these trades or anything similar to it and you lose money in it, it is not my fault. You need to do your own due diligence, you need to make your own decisions, and you need to make your own trades. However, if you're interested in my analysis and you like how I look at these stocks, consider joining my Discord chat. I will send you a weekly watch list as well as my company comparison spreadsheet, where I look at all of these companies and analyze the fundamentals. I will also send you my daily stock chats for all kinds of trading. So we have threads in there for day trading, swing trading, investing, and dividend growth. And I also post my daily analysis in there. So if you are interested in joining a community of traders, please consider joining my Discord chat. The link is down below, and it is $5 per month. I am in there every single day posting and sharing the stocks that I am looking at, more so than I am on YouTube. So if you're interested in that, definitely check it out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Please consider liking and subscribing. Peace.